Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fucking Islanders podcast, the pre-draft special. We talk about the trades that went down before the draft, what we think of during the draft, and what we think of Lou's presser before the draft. Nothing came up to this today. Boys, what do we think of the trades that came through today? What was the most interesting one to you?
Mike, you want to go first?
I mean, it's gotta be the Toffoli trade for me. I'm sure maybe
Okay.
Brandon will say the other one, but obviously he was a 30 goal scorer. Sharon Govich didn't have the year he had the prior year, where I thought he was probably even better than a Toffoli, but it was a good fit for Toffoli on Calgary. It's a shame it didn't work out there, but it's the last year of his deal, so seems like a pretty good deal for the Devils, who now look like absolute cup favorites and are probably the best team in the league.
What do you guys think of players leaving Calgary en masse? Do you think it's just like players noticing a rebuild is coming and reading the tea leaves, or something different?
It's got to be something different at this point.
Okay.
It has to be because there's honestly no excuse for Toffoli obviously leaving, Kachuk leaving, Gaudreau leaving.
Can I
the possibility
jump in?
that Hansen's going to be leaving as well.
Lindholm wants to leave.
No one wants to go too. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying this. I just want to jump in real quick, Brandon. I don't want to say this applies to every player, but it's also a Canada problem, in my opinion. A lot of these guys are U.S. born. They want to go home, or they want to go play in the U.S. They don't want to be in Canada for a multitude of reasons. But
Do you think it works in the opposite direction? Because I haven't seen it that often in the opposite direction, and there are more Canadian hockey players than American.
well, there are Canadians that go home. Look at the Leafs; they always get a really good deal on guys, Giordano, Spezza.
No, I agree, but I take that as because it's the Leafs. You look at the other teams in Canada, and they don't get the same recognition.
It is absolutely a team problem. You saw it with Columbus for a long time. I mean, you've actually seen it with both Florida teams, right? Before Tampa became a dynasty. I mean, they had a lot of rebuilding years. Same with Florida. A lot of players just, it's obviously a nice place to play now, and they consider that, but it was a terrible team for years. I think it's a mix of a team not being good enough and also location, where Florida now is a high-end destination. For the longest time, there'd be 2,000 fans, and, but I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, by the way. I'm not talking like recent, but you saw it with the Florida teams. You saw it with Columbus. You've seen it with Carolina potentially years ago. Every team has phases like that. Winnipeg,
I mean, Winnipeg.
I don't think it'll.
I mean, Winnipeg never attracts UFAs.
But
they've always signed
that I think has a lot to do with location, just because it's so cold up there. There's not.
What can fix a lot of those problems, though, is if your team is really good. That definitely will solve a lot of, hey, I don't know if I want to play there. Is, let's say, Winnipeg drafts, ends up rebuilding and drafts.
I agree. But we all thought 2 years ago that Calgary was really good. I think at that point in time, the problem was Daryl Sutter is such a difficult coach to work for that guys just didn't want to play for him.
I think Gaudreau and Tkachuk being American and wanting to not necessarily go home like as back in their hometown, but be closer to home. Yeah, I think that was the downfall of the Flames. Once those guys left, I think a lot of the other players, aside from location, they thought, this
the writing
is not a team that's.
I got you.
Yeah, so it's not to be a competitive team.
So essentially, the Devils trade away Sharagovich and Severson to get Toffoli. That's essentially what they did because the 80th overall pick was what they got from Columbus, which again, good asset management by Fitzy.
I still think it's risky that they let go of Severson. I understand they have Luke Hughes and they have Simon Nemec, but those guys have to be ready now. Like they need those guys to go off because if they don't, it's a step back defensively. They had a really good decor last year. There's no denying that.
So that's the thing.
You gotta hope Marino doesn't regress either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is they're banking on Luke Hughes and
The Devils had a really good decor in the regular season. That decor, when it was tested during the postseason, it didn't perform as well as I thought it would. And against really good teams throughout the season,
they were in the first round.
Had some issues.
It's a small sample size, too. I mean, a 7-game series is really hard to judge a whole year based off a team.
Oh, no, I agree. But also during the season, when they were playing very good teams like, say, a Tampa Bay or a Boston or even us, that decor had a lot of problems because they were tested in a system where they were constantly under siege because of the wild run and gun style of hockey they play. You need guys that are consistent on defense, and I don't think they're there yet.
I would argue that every team struggles with those teams. It's not doesn't make the Devils special at all. I mean, they're playing teams where Pastrnak has 66 goals. I mean, he scored against every team. It doesn't make the Devils special,
I agree, But if you're going to say that the Devils are in that top 10% of teams now, I
would say they are the best team.
Yeah, if you're the best,
that's fine. It's opinion.
Anyone.
Wait, say it again. Sorry. You shouldn't struggle against anyone. That's not. I don't know if that's a fair assessment. And the funniest conclusion I can come to now is watch the Islanders play Vegas. I feel like we really had their number since they've basically been, and obviously they only play them 2 times a year, but the Islanders had no issues with them really.
To me, that exposes a flaw in Vegas.
Not really, because you're not playing them consecutively to match up. There's not going to be like game by game adjustments as you.
That's what's so tough in the playoffs too. Is that
in the playoffs and they didn't show up? New Jersey, I'm talking about.
But who didn't show up in the playoffs?
New Jersey's defense. They were poor.
They showed up in the first round against the Rangers.
It was the second round.
They did not show up.
Carolina wasn't a favorable matchup for them.
Carolina has an even better defense than the Devils. I mean, what are we doing? Yeah, I mean, come on.
Understand, but
Burns,
we were the better team, you could say, when we played Carolina in the first round. The Devils, on paper, are a much better team than us.
It's matchups,
more difficult time against Carolina, especially defensively, than we did.
Well, you hear the Leaf arguments, right, John, where if they didn't play Tampa or they didn't have to play Boston every year, they probably win a round or two at least.
I disagree.
I agree with that. I actually agree with that statement. I feel like they got unlucky a few times, but whatever. I mean,
I don't think the Islanders were better than
they
Carolina.
Played Montreal and lost.
Yeah, I know. Well, but John, it doesn't apply to every year. I'm saying there's probably 3 years where they were definitely the better team and they just didn't win. But if they were playing a lesser
better team and lose, I'm just saying I feel like whoever the Leafs were going to play, they would have been the better team and lost.
I don't agree with that, but that's okay. I mean, it doesn't change what happened. But my point is that matchups are everything. So obviously the Leafs matched up really poorly against Tampa for the most part, and also Boston, and it kind of cost them year after year.
But then they beat Tampa.
Yeah, I know, in a year where they did not play them, by the way. But
where Vasilevsky shit the bed.
Yeah, so my thing is the playoffs are a whole different story, and I agree with you.
But that's the
Devil would be the best team on paper in history of the NHL. If they don't do anything in the playoffs, it means nothing. I agree with you.
It's the only thing that matters. So the Devils had a failed season.
I wouldn't agree with that, though, because they're a really young team. They're not like us that has been around here.
But what I'm saying is, like, defensively, there are cracks there, and not signing Severson, that's going to be an issue going forward.
I'm not giving Severson 8 years. I would have given him 6 max.
I think that was probably what stopped them from doing the deal. Is Severson knew some team was going to give him a max term, and the Devils said, "Why are we going to give this guy a max term when we have these like top 5 prospects on defense? Like, let's give those guys a shot." So I mean, I don't blame them, but it's a risk. You know what Severson is. You know what you had with Severson. Now you're having someone step foot, in his shoes. So
okay, all right. So now
we can move on.
Brandon. What was the most interesting trade of the day for you?
It's the Kevin Hayes. No, I'm just kidding. It's the of course, it's the PLD trade. Of
Yeah.
course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it's a trade. I just down the middle. I like the fact that they have Kopitar, PLD, and Dano down the middle. Good center core from 1 to 3. Shitload of value that Winnipeg got in this trade.
Yeah.
A lot of value. Considering the fact that they hardly had any leverage, and Dubois had only 1 year left of restricted free agency before he could ultimately cash unrestricted free agent. You got
if they move on from Blake Wheeler, I really think they're still set up for success after this trade.
Who, the Jets?
Yes.
Absolutely they are. Absolutely. Now they still need to solidify that 2C spot now, since or maybe they are going to go full rebuild, and
I think so,
or move more players, because you don't know whether or not they're going to keep Scheifele, and the speculation is that they're going to buy out Blake Wheeler.
Yeah.
But this is a really good starting point to kickstart the rebuild. And
well, I think what this trade does is it makes it so that you can buy time to where you can kind of go through a half rebuild. You don't have to go through the full rebuild and suck for 4 or 5 years in order to get good. You can go through a half rebuild, pick up some guys in free agency, and be good in like 2 years now.
But the Jets don't attract free agents. They've only signed one free agent in their existence, whether they've been good or bad or great. They're not a free agent destination at all.
They can find people.
There's probably by trade, but you don't know what the hell they're going to do with Mark Scheifele. They're probably going to have to move him too. Like, they're already buying out one alleged locker room cancer in Blake Wheeler. They're probably going to eventually be doing the same thing by trading away at bare minimum Mark Scheifele. Ehlers can't stay as healthy as he used to be, and the only guy who they have locked in to buy them some time is Kyle Connor. That's it. That is it. You know,
Connor, Morrissey, and Lowry are pretty good.
What's up?
I said Connor, Morrissey, Lowry, Pionk. They got
that.
I was looking at their defensive situation. It's actually really bad. No wonder Hellebuck was always under fire. They're horrible.
Neil Pionk had a rotten season last year.
And DeMello is on his last year of his deal, so they don't really have anyone, Brandon. It's really it's bad there. They should rebuild. They don't have anyone, honestly. And now all the rumors are that, like, obviously Scheifele wants out. I know you guys already said it, but there are a bunch of it's almost Calgary, but worse. I'd argue Calgary's in a better situation than they are.
I disagree. I think
Winnipeg has the smarter general manager to get them out of this than Calgary does right now.
They got to reset.
Exactly. And I think if you're moving away Dubois, knowing the fact that he was your main need when you trade away Laine in the first place, and you really don't have a defender replacement.
Well, they were kind of forced to trade Dubois.
Sure, but they didn't get.
You make the best of it.
Yeah, you make the best of that. But
also, that's the trade was so weird, by the way, guys, because you think a team like that would have got more future. Instead, they kind of got closer to present. I'm not saying that.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they traded away. They got enough depth. I think they can have a few smart moves.
You think they'll flip them, Brandon?
I think IFL will get flipped at bare minimum.
No, they're going to do the half rebuild.
No, they already didn't have rebuild. You have to move away Scheifele.
It would be a very funny half rebuild.
Scheifele for a bunch
an Islanders half rebuild.
Second line wingers.
But you need help down the middle. The whole point, and when they moved away Laine, oh no, what just happened? Something just happened. Something just got reported from Twitter, because one of my buddies who's a Winnipeg Jets fan says it's happening! And exclamation marks.
Oh boy! Okay.
We getting live feed of what just happened?
I want to know, because somebody just said it's happening in all caps. So something had to have happened just now.
I'm checking Twitter. 1 second.
Oh,
yeah, I'm getting killed. Come on, what happened? I have nothing.
What happened? What happened?
One of you is going to drop this.
Hold on.
I can't see because if I exit out, my screen's gonna go black too. Yeah, because she literally just said
John's face is frozen.
What?
Do you see John's face, right?
yeah.
John looks like he just took a huge hit.
Yeah. To be fair, that's my face too if I ever took one again. Absolutely.
John's like, Vegas won the cup, baby.
Does anybody know anything that may have gotten leaked out by Winnipeg?
I don't see anything.
She literally any NHL updates? Why is she saying it's happening?
Maybe it's something else.
No, I literally just got the notification at 10:17 p.m. Something had to have been leaked. Something had to have been leaked. There's no way.
Well, if you see it, I guess we'll
Oh, that's so annoying. What the hell? John, where are you?
Till leaves forever, Eric Carlson. That would be weird.
What? Really? It's happening?
No, I don't know if it's happening, but this was an hour or two ago. It says the San Jose Prospects and Futures retains 33% of Carlson. To Chicago Muzzin Prospects retains 33%.
The same rumor tweet that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's legit. I've seen sources say that Carlson hates the Leafs and he's not going there.
Well, we can move on though. We were talking about trades, right? That covered the big ones.
We still got the Kevin Hayes trade. Apparently, Torrey Krug tried to move him for all of yesterday and were unsuccessful.
Frozen Brandon now.
Yeah, I know my screen froze. No, I could still talk though. I could still talk. But I mean, he didn't want to go to Philly.
Weren't they trying to shop him to different teams though when he didn't want to move at all? Like they were talking about the Islanders, and I guess the money didn't work out.
Yeah, it wasn't going to work. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I just found out the update from that Jets fan. It has nothing to do with players.
Okay.
The assumption is that they're going to go be wearing their blue Heritage jerseys next year.
Oh yeah, okay. That's
pretty cool.
Yeah,
something to cheer them up.
That sucks.
Yeah,
it was something cool.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that person. Anyway,
those are the main trades that happened. We can move on to
what I find hilarious is that Devils got more for Blackwood than what the Flyers got for Hayes.
Oh, that was bad. Yeah. Oh, boy.
You got more for
Blackwood would fetch more than a sixth. That's kind of crazy. He's a goalie that still has value, I would say.
It's completely mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, Winnipeg got Belaldi. They got Iafallo. They're going to get most likely an early second-round pick for next year because Montreal's, even though they got Alex Newhook, I don't think they're going to play well next year.
I agree.
So that pick is going to be early. So Winnipeg's going to kickstart this, in my opinion, the rebuild as soon as possible. I think it would make most sense for him to move on from Scheifele and Hellebuck as well. If you're allegedly buying out Blake Wheeler, you already moved Dubois, they have to rebuild. They have to.
We'll see. I think they're going to go the half step. But so in other news, Lou had a press conference earlier today. Nothing of value was really said, but did you guys take anything from it?
I mean, he said the normal cliche stuff. He said, like, hey, I probably wouldn't have signed certain contracts a few years ago at the time.
See, that to me was the most interesting thing because it was an admission of guilt.
I mean, what is
that from him?
Any general manager with some form of function is going to say that because there's probably
one or
two questionable deals. Sure. My takeaway is they're keeping Mitch Korn, which is good. That is a really good keep.
That's what's going to keep our goaltending situation good, no matter who's in net. I believe
him and Greco. Greco does a great job too, but we need Mitchie in there still. They need Mitchie coaching the Thunders as well. But that I was completely worried that he was going to go to Nashville because everywhere Trotz goes, he goes.
I agree.
So, and I also think somebody else could be going to Nashville, but it's not going to be a coach. I'll talk about that later.
I've heard from several people that that's not happening. You still think it's on the table?
I'll talk about that player later, but I think we could take a wild guess who it's going to be down like in 15 minutes.
Sure. Mike, your video is going crazy.
Really?
Why?
I see him just fine.
All right, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, it's you.
Bad internet, John.
Typical John.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I took from that. I'm like, I'm happy. I'm happy that there was an admission of certain contracts that you shouldn't have signed.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the 2-year deal for Clutterbuck, but again, you could waive him. You could waive Ross if you want to as well. I mean, that's not the big backbreaker. I think Anders Lee's deal is sort of the meh deal right now.
I feel like if you really wanted to, you could trade out of the Lee deal.
You can't right now. He's got a full no trade.
You'd have to ask him and get him to sign off on it.
It becomes modified after this year.
I made the tweet that I feel like what he was saying there was basically about Pajot and Palmieri, that maybe those guys would not have been re-signed if they had known that the cap was going to be in the spot that it's at. And I made sure to say
I think he's talking about the Bailey deal.
Yeah, he was saying 3 years ago though. Those deals were signed 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. In my mind, it's basically saying it. And listen, I think those contracts worked out actually pretty well. I think they're fair, and those guys have definitely, for the most part, lived up to them, I think. But I think he said he would have gone a different direction on, maybe more than just one deal. That's what I thought he was saying. So that's just what I took from it.
Probably.
As for what the Islanders are going to do, I don't think anyone's taking Bailey. I think they're screwed. But yeah.
I don't know how it's going to happen, but
he should. And I said this in a tweet. He should retire. He should see that the team needs the space. They should sit down and talk with them. Say,
that's
listen,
That's not like.
Oh God, we're going to get this started. I think that's terrible that he wouldn't do something like that. And this is supposed to be a very professional person. Yeah, I think it's terrible.
Honestly, though, Mike, the way Bailey has come across during his post-game press conferences and the exit interview, he comes across very arrogant.
I think so too.
Very unexpected arrogant. Like, bro, I don't care if you got scratched and
I am
who cares?
Completely in disagreement.
I know you are, but
you suck. If you suck, you get benched. Plain and simple. There's no other way around it.
I'm not saying he shouldn't get benched. I'm saying no player should be happy with getting benched. Every player should think they don't deserve to get benched.
That's not where my problem is, though. My problem is the fact that he's not
play like you don't want to get benched in. Sorry, not my problem.
And also own up to.
He's trying. You can't really do that at his age. You can't tell someone not to be prideful.
Own up to not playing well. That's something he refused to do, and it carried him all the way to the end of the season. And now
tell players to accept their mortality. That's just not in them. That's not how an athlete works.
It doesn't matter. It's part of the business.
Players.
It's part of the business to let them go. It's not part of the business for them to like it.
Okay, but Romanov held himself highly accountable this past season whenever he made a few mistakes. He pointed out in his interviews, hey, a lot of what's happened the past
That's not the norm.
Okay, but it's a good norm to have. No, it's not just Horvat, Barzell. They've owned up to it. Brock Nelson's owned up to it. Pelican Pollock has owned up to it. Romanov.
If Bailey continued to get playing time, I'm sure he would own up to it as well. But I'm not going to blame a player for saying, I think I'm good enough to play. He deserves the right to try to go to any team he wants and try to get a trade to work.
Here's the argument.
It doesn't work, but that's right.
Lou needs to come back and say to him, listen, Bailey, we've tried. No team wants you. We've tried. It's the Hosang situation. No, we can't get a team that wants to bite. I'm being honest with you. This is me being loyal to you. If you retire, I know you still have $3.5 million left. We will give you a position and pay you that much. It won't be a problem. You know what I mean? You will still get paid. We'll have you set up for years here with a position in the AHL or whatever, but we need the cap space. Are you willing to retire? He says no. He ends up a villain, and he's waived.
I don't think he ends up a villain there at all. He gets waived. That's his right. You go, I can't find a team. We're going to give you the opportunity to find a team yourself. That's his right.
Well, he would still be with the organization because no one would pick him up.
Okay, and then it's his choice whether he wants to play in Bridgeport or not.
He won't.
If you're not going to play, then why not retire? Like, what is the point? You know what I mean?
The point is you need to be able to go through that as a player to decide for yourself and get to that stage in your career where you go, okay, I'm not wanted anymore. He's not there yet. I can't blame him for not being.
I don't know how you could not see it when like the playoffs were on the line and they chose guys with like 8 points over him, 10 points.
You realize these guys are human, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's the integrity of the situation.
Where was the integrity with Taze? You know what I mean? He just threw him away.
Okay, we're not going to.
The integrity? He's in a better situation.
Okay,
the better situation for Bailey would be to put the stick down.
Okay. Let me give you another example.
I'm not saying Lou should or shouldn't do something. I'm saying I'm not going to blame Bailey for saying, "Hey, I should still be playing."
Okay, let me give
Komarov.
Right.
Let me give you an example of a vet handling being like not coming back. So in the 2020 playoffs, Johnny Boychuk gets concussed by Mike Matheson.
That is an entirely different situation.
No.
Yes.
Andy Green comes in, plays great with Nick Leddy on that bottom pair. Boychuk is deemed healthy and ready to go by game 2 against the Capitals. Doesn't go in.
Boychuk was not the same player, and he knew it because he was still experiencing concussion symptoms.
Bailey isn't
experiencing concussion symptoms. If Bailey had 6 concussions, this would be an entirely different story. He doesn't. In his mind, he's still the same player he was before.
Bailey has been a complete bolt anchor since 2020.
But that doesn't matter.
No, but it's the complete arrogance on his part. Like there was a time.
Not arrogant.
That's not what bothers me, though. What bothers me is the Islanders are in a really tough spot right now, and he could literally ride off and. Oh well, it will be when he's not playing any NHL games.
But
why not
when a GM does what a GM is supposed to do?
What, sit him down and tell him he sucks like they should?
And Bailey is supposed to do what he's supposed to do. All right?
Retire.
Yeah.
No. If Lou wants to put Bailey on Robida Island, I'm sure he can do that. He doesn't want to do that. I'm sure he can find a way to do that.
Bailey, he can't go to LTIR because he doesn't have a debilitating career-ending injury. That's the problem.
They'll find something. Robida didn't have a career-ending injury either. They made one up.
It's not the same.
Yeah, and Lou probably got shit for that from the NHLPA.
And it's not the same situation. It's not.
Do it again. Who cares?
No, Robida had some injuries, though. Bailey doesn't have anything like that.
Bailey has injuries in his career.
John, you don't think Lou would have done that with Andrew Ladd? I mean,
no.
Look at how
he should have.
I know, but he couldn't because it's not the way it was, and it's just different nowadays.
Yeah,
listen.
Ladd was deemed medically cleared, and that's why he was taken off LTIR.
Yep.
You cannot tell me.
Which is funny, Brandon, because he was never healthy again, so I don't know how the hell that happened, but.
You cannot tell me guys like Stone and Stamkos conveniently got healthy just as the playoffs were starting. This shit happens all the time.
I'm not going to say people that they don't use loopholes, but to have someone out for the whole year like that, I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
I think it can. I'm not saying it will, But I'm saying if
that sounds you
your job to find a solution to this. It's not his job to give you a solution.
Didn't you just spend like 15, 20 minutes telling me how Bailey wanted to play? Like,
yeah.
This is...
He doesn't have to agree to it.
Okay, here's what will probably happen if they don't move him.
I think they're going to waive him.
Or if they're unable to move him, they will do to him exactly what they did to Komarov and Svechnikov. They'll waive him to assign to Bridgeport. He won't report, and his contract will be terminated.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's exactly what will happen if he doesn't get traded, whether it's during the draft or free agency.
They'll waive him, he won't report, and his cap hit will go away, and that's fine.
Yeah, and they won't have to give up any draft because here's the thing: the teams are allowed to be 10% over the cap before the season begins. Under the CBA, they are allowed to. So it's just the arrogance though on his part that's infuriating.
I don't think it's arrogant.
There's times where he plays less than 10 minutes and he goes, "I thought I was playing well." Are you freaking that naive?
We can move on from this.
Yes, Brandon. Yes, it's human. He still thinks he's having trouble coping with the fact that he is aging out of the league. It happens to a lot of people.
I know, but this is pointless. We should be just talking about solutions. We've gone over this before.
The solution is to waive him.
Yeah, I think so. But it's just I wish he was as loyal as people would think and would just take a position with the team.
I don't.
He already made his money. He already made his money.
Like how people are trying to say that his loyalty is contingent on him saying that he's a bad hockey player and he needs to go away.
No. Retire in grace. Retire gracefully when the team needs to, when they need the space. You're saying that's not his problem, and I agree with you.
But it's not their place to tell him he needs to retire.
I think it is.
No, absolutely.
I think they did him a favor when they paid him for John Tavares carrying him. And I think you can give them a favor back for retiring.
That is shockingly fucked. No.
You think he would have made $5 million without playing next to John Tavares?
Yes. Yes, I think he would have.
No way.
That's a good one, John.
He put up 90 points in the season. He deserved
No, he didn't.
At the time.
He never put up 90 points. What are you talking about?
No.
His career high was like 70-something, right?
Close. But whatever.
No, it's not.
His career high is in the 70s.
Yes.
He was a good hockey player who deserved another contract. Was it an overpayment? Yes. But he did not get another contract as a gift because he was with John Tavares. That's insulting.
I mean,
he was given that deal in hopes that Tavares would stay. That's the only reason why he was given that deal in the first place.
It was way too much money. He was
going to be given a deal regardless.
He shouldn't have been given that many years either because he wasn't anything special until that year.
5x4 would have been fine, not 5x6.
Yeah, I think that was way too. Same thing with a few other players.
This is offensive.
It's not offensive, though. We're at the point where his career has ended. It is over. He needs to do the right thing for the team. Now, you're saying if he has the right not to do it, you're right. He doesn't. But he should.
This is the problem with sports. This is like the issue that I have with professional sports. Arrogant fans who think they can control an athlete's like decisions with their own career.
He can do whatever he wants. He's going to be looked at a certain way if he continues to try.
But I don't think he deserves to be looked at that way.
You don't have to. It's our opinion as fans to think a certain way. You don't have to think that way, but
your opinion is bullshit. It's wrong.
I don't agree with that. You also think that he shouldn't hold himself responsible as a 32-year-old man instead of a 19-year-old baby.
No, I don't think that he should hold himself responsible for retiring.
No, I don't think that. I'm talking about what you said before, where other players can say, "Hey, I'm not playing that well," but he goes, "Well, I thought I was playing fine." I mean, we've beaten this to death.
It's a human emotion to think that to not be able to grasp your own mortality.
It's ridiculous.
His career is ending. He can't handle it. That's a normal thing.
That stupid fucking chant got to his head, and he's like, "Oh, everyone loves me."
Everyone does love it. Oh, everyone.
I hate him.
And then the fan
I
base
hope he
is
retires. I can't wait till he's not on the team anymore, so I can blame someone else when they lose.
It's
Tired of it.
It's not
his fault.
It's not even the chant. It's the way that he was pampered like a son under Garth.
All right.
And he ran with that mentality his entire Islanders career.
Honestly.
And now he's playing.
Brandon has this horrible narrative where Bailey's an evil human being.
He's not. No. The blame doesn't go primarily to Bailey. It goes to Garth because of how Garth pampered him.
I think it's so much deeper than this. He has a really bad mentality that hockey players who are mid always happens where, I'm better than everyone else. I don't do anything wrong. I'm not the problem.
As a fucking man sitting in a fucking bedroom on a fucking podcast on Twitter going to seriously look at me and be like, oh, he's just not a good athlete. He needs to know that he's a shit athlete. And
that's not it. It's not it.
Ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous, though. I don't understand why he can't hold himself accountable.
No, listen. You can hold yourself accountable and say there are things on your game that you need to work on, but you are still, at the end of the day, a professional hockey player, and you deserve to be a professional hocky player.
He can go play over in fucking Sweden
I need 9 minutes.
Yeah. John, we are on the same team. I will gladly watch him play in Europe. I have no problem with that. He can go be a hockey player with like all the other Swedes over in that country, but like not on my hockey team. I'm with you, John. He deserves to be a hockey player in some fucking B league with 10 fans in the stands. I don't know. I'm not against you. I agree with you. And then he could say to the 6 people watching, I thought I played well, and no one will care.
I didn't expect to be this mad, but it is genuinely insulting.
It's not.
Given all of their career to an organization who's trying to stay with them is now being looked at as the villain for trying to stay in that organization.
No, it's trying to stay when he's past his expiration date.
But
like, you wouldn't drink the milk, John, if it was expired, would you? I don't know.
No, but that's actually a perfect analogy. Because do I blame the milk for being spoiled, or do I blame?
But what do you do with the milk? What do you do with the milk, John?
Dump it. You
throw it out. But do I get mad at the milk for being spoiled and staying in my fridge? No.
But this is like if the milk was grabbing onto the door of your fridge and wouldn't let you take it. And you say, I got new milk. I don't need you anymore.
The point is, no matter what the fucking milk does, it stays in my fridge because I'm too stupid to take it out and throw it out. I don't care how Bailey acts.
You're acting like we won the Stanley Cup or something.
It's his job to get rid of him.
I find this so funny because if Barzal in 4 years decided to play like that Pierre-Luc Dubois shift, I would say get the fuck rid of him. There is no loyalty like that anymore in sports that you're talking about. If somebody is not good enough anymore or they're not trying, they don't belong here. I want to win a cup.
Not good enough and not trying are entirely different things.
Well, the problem is I see both with him, and that's what frustrates the shit out of me because when he get put back in the lineup, he looked worse than the time before. I don't think he's
not a good hockey player anymore. It's not.
But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that. I think it's way deeper than that because I don't see the effort either. I don't see the effort. If I saw the effort,
no. Why would a guy that is in his head this deep not care?
I don't think it's that. I think he thinks he's good enough to where he thinks he's trying out there. I really do.
Because if he thinks he's trying, then he's trying. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just don't see. It's an effort level thing. It's the same reason Dubois got kicked the fuck out of Columbus. Same fucking thing.
He got out of Columbus because he didn't care.
That's what I see with Bailey.
He didn't want to be there.
Bailey.
You don't see Pierre-Luc Dubois looking at Columbus going, hey, guys, don't trade me. I can do what I want. I can play hockey. No, Pierre-Luc Dubois went, I'm going to do nothing until you get me the fuck out of here because I want to be somewhere else where I can actually play and win.
But that's exactly what's going on with Bailey is that
no, it's not.
But Brandon, you know what I'm talking about, right? They openly said they will shop him and try to find him a destination to play in the NHL.
I don't want to play for this team. He's saying, I want to play hockey, and you don't want me to be on this team anymore. So send me somewhere that wants me.
Yeah.
There's a complete difference between I don't want you and you don't want me.
Ciao.
But see, what kills me, John, is then he's like, oh, I don't want to play in the AHL or whatever. Or like, I want to still play in
Why would he?
Or he doesn't want to get health bombed. But like, there are tons of veterans his age that are loyal to their organization and have been there a long time that are riding the bench. And it's just a part of getting older.
Loyalty tax. The team owes him, not the other way around.
What? The team owes him? For what?
Anything.
For fucking, how long has he been on the team?
What does that matter?
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
So do we owe Brent Thompson something because he's been the head coach of the Sound Tigers for 800 years? Should we put his name in the rafters or something? I don't know what you're getting at with that. What is the crazy loyalty about? Like
loyalty is
he got paid. That's what mattered. He got paid.
Loyalty is if he is not playing on your team anymore and he comes to you and says, I want to play hockey still. It is your job to try to find something for him. If you can't,
and if they can't, no, I agree with you. I wish there was a scenario where he could go, well, okay, no other team wants me. I'm not going to be playing. I'm just going to retire.
Why would he do that?
Because it would be the same scenario as him basically not playing. But I don't see a difference.
But not doing that gives him an opportunity to try to play. He can say to himself, I did everything I could. It wasn't on me. They made the decision. It's not his job to say, I'm done. It's someone else's job to say, you're done. No player leaves on their own terms.
That's not true. Time
tells them when they need to leave. Josh Bailey doesn't want to listen.
I don't know if I agree with that, and I can think of many different scenarios, including Dustin Byfuglien being like, yo, I don't want to play hockey anymore. He left on his own terms.
Was a completely, a unique situation that really hasn't happened in the league very often at all.
But
no one leaves in their prime.
Oh, but Bailey's past his prime.
But what I'm saying is Dustin Byfuglien's a bad comparison because he left in his prime because he was not emotionally in the game anymore.
I mean,
he had many good years.
Don't get me started. I see somebody else not emotionally in the game, but whatever. I don't know how you can watch Bailey this past year and go like, yo, that guy was trying.
I think he's projecting heavily, and it is offensive. An athlete.
I don't understand. It's like it's a mix of both. I think what happened is the skill fell off, and then the guy got comfortable, and it's a problem the Islanders had team wide. Like I said in the beginning of the season,
are we really going to do this for the entire podcast?
Sure. What, you're going to disagree with me that the team was laughing and having a good time when they were losing games? They were not treating it the way they should. I don't understand how you cannot.
So what? You think that every player is going to be miserable the entire time they're losing? They have to come out to every fucking interview.
I would like to see emotion. I'd like to see that they cared.
I don't know. Here's the thing.
Barzell is literally the only one. So frustrating.
I do not care if losing doesn't hurt you. I don't care.
Well, that's not going to win you a cup.
You can lose and be happy. Great.
How can you say that though? That sounds like a loser mentality.
Because I don't give a shit if the players I have a loser mentality if they're good.
They shouldn't have any. Nobody should have a loser mentality.
Doesn't matter to me. Win. Your mentality of you should want to win more than you hate to lose.
But my argument was just that they weren't showing the emotion in the beginning of the year, and it kind of was like a team-wide problem. I think there was too much comfort.
Don't show emotion when they lose, though. It doesn't matter to me. It's not going to make me feel better.
Those are the teams that get blown up. All of them. Those are the teams that get blown up. Winnipeg.
Watch a press conference afterwards, and I go, "Oh, they lost by 7," but the guys really look distraught. Oh man, they're gonna pull themselves up by their bootstraps. No, win.
Brandon, what happened with Winnipeg? What did the coach say?
Oh, with what Rick Bowness said about the Jets team, how players were being completely careless, and he spoke about the locker room.
There's a difference between careless and like
Blake Wheeler the following day voiced his displeasure publicly about the coach.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
There's a difference between carelessness and showing visible passion inside of your locker room, though. I don't give a shit if you're not upset.
It's not upset. It's just showing emotion. Show that you care that you're losing.
I don't
doing it.
I don't need emotion. I just need you to be engaged on the ice.
If you don't appreciate the coach calling you out and your team publicly, then show up more.
Yeah.
No, I agree. They should show up.
And that's why Winnipeg allegedly get rid of Wheeler.
No, that's why they're blowing it up, too, because the team's just not a winner. It's a bunch of guys who don't care that they're losing. You can see it when they watch. But this is absolutely a thing, John. This is a real thing in sports that, some players are completely happy with just being comfortable. And look at Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau is a perfect example. Hey, New Jersey is close to home. I can go to a winner, or I can be really comfortable, have my wife have a nice job in Columbus. I don't care about winning. It's a real thing in sports.
That is a gross misrepresentation of what happened there. New Jersey could not afford to pay him. Columbus was the only team at the end of the day that was like, we can give you this contract. No other team could have done it.
The Devils offered 9 and change as well, and he said
no. No, they did not.
They did.
That they did not. They could not afford to.
I heard that those were the 2 teams that were in on him, but I mean,
the Devils said the Devils were not able to put up the offer because they were not able to trade away assets to get cap space to put the offer through. The same thing
about the Devils. What are you talking about?
At the last minute, Columbus swooped in and said, "We can give you the money you're looking for," and so he went there. He didn't want to go off of his asking price.
Didn't the Devils have a lot of cap space, like you just said?
$500K was the big difference between playing for a team who is almost there versus a team who is basically a moribund franchise right now.
If you care about the money, yeah.
So he was only in for the money and not to win.
That's fine. Yeah.
You should want both. You should both want money to an extent.
You should want whatever you want. I don't care.
I do think I'm going off on a tangent there, though, where my whole point is just that there was too much comfort with the Islanders, and I think it was a real thing. 90
points on my team, and you came here because you wanted $12 million and not because you thought that our team was going to win the Stanley Cup. I don't care. You put up all the points, great. Earn the money.
That's not what I mean. It's just that there's. I think I went off on a tangent farther than what I'm talking about, because what I'm just mostly talking about is that there should be some visual like sense of, hey, if the team is doing really bad or the team is just not performing, there should be some emotion. And if you're not showing it, there is a culture issue. There's a huge culture issue. I think
that the emotion is a way to placate fans, and I don't think fans need to be placated.
I don't agree with that.
There are ways.
I can tell you, when I played sports and we weren't playing well, I would hit harder. I would, even if it was lacrosse or if it was soccer, I would change the tempo. 100% is I would start showing emotion. I would hit someone harder.
Okay.
I would do a bad tackle or.
I have a question then.
Okay.
If you're telling me you played harder when you are losing,
100%.
100%. Why did you do that in the beginning? Why did you not care enough?
It's not necessarily that.
No, it is. I want my players going 100% at all times. If you have more to give and you reach a new gear,
you don't always start a game well, though. Sometimes it's not the right vibe.
You're telling me you start at 70% and you need to be emotionally invested into the game 100%. To get the extra 30. I don't want
100%.
I want somebody who's going to start
That's
at
terrible. That's terrible. You want players like that are going to raise their game when the situation gets tough.
I want players.
Matthew Tkachuk is a perfect example of that.
I want players that show up. If losing 20 games is what makes you show up, I don't want you on my team because I don't want to lose those 20 games. I want somebody who's going to show up day one and give their 100%.
Hockey, especially, John, is a game of bounces. It's not always going to be fair. You could play 110% every game. It's not always going to be fair and equal.
Oh, I know. You're not always going to win, and that's fine. But I want consistent effort, regardless of if you're winning or losing.
But that's my point. I wasn't seeing that from the Islanders, and they'd be losing games, take a bad penalty, and I'd see Scott Mayfield laughing with someone else going to the box. And it's like, I don't think
you're giving 100%, which I'm assuming they are. I have no problem with you being okay that bounces didn't go your way.
I just know that to keep all that inside and to have the whatever it's called, the something club. I can't think right now. What is it called? The country club mentality. I don't like it. I see it in teams like Winnipeg. I certainly saw it in teams like Calgary. I even see it in teams like the Leafs sometimes, is that they don't show up in the big moments. And instead of them getting mad and getting tough and playing harder, they play the same way and then they lose. And I would rather have a Matthew Tkachuk on my team.
They don't play the same way. They play worse. The moment is too big for them.
I would just say that I'd rather have a Matthew Tkachuk on my team than a Mitch Marner. It's just how it is. I think those guys that are willing to be a little aggressive and be a little angrier, have a bite to their game, show emotion. I don't know how you can just disagree with that, but
I think both of them are great. I have no problem with a Mitch Marner being on my team. If you're going to tell me that
that's one or the other,
I think they're both great. I'll take either one.
We just feel differently, I guess, about the game, but I don't know. I think the Islanders didn't show the emotion needed to be successful. I thought they were completely okay with losing, and it took Barzal going down for everybody to raise their game.
Do you think if they showed emotion, they would have been more successful?
100%.
No, absolutely not.
100%. I disagree with you on that.
Well, that and the system change helped.
Of course. It's a mix of things. It's not just one. But I noticed, Brandon, I didn't see any laughing or snickering all the time anymore. It was it's a lot more serious. They were playing to win. You know, I'm not saying you have to be stone-faced.
This is a complete gong show of a take here.
I don't know how it's a gong show of a take. Like I said, I played sports at a very high level. And when we were not serious, when we were joking around, we were shit. You know, you have to have a certain focus. I'm not saying you have to be stone-faced, but you also have to raise your game and play tougher when things aren't going your way. And the Islanders weren't doing that. They were completely happy. Okay, I'm not going to lose my job. I'm not going to lose my spot. I'm completely cool with just, hanging around and laughing and having a good time and just playing the same way. And then bam, Barzal goes down. Everyone, it's like they formed an army or something, man. Like it was serious hockey. They started caring. It's a real part of sports. I don't know how you can say it isn't.
I played sports all my life, dude. You and us playing in like a rec league is not the same thing.
It wasn't a rec league. I was traveling around the East Coast playing.
Yeah, great. It's not the same thing. Not remotely close.
It is.
It's not.
It's not the same level.
No.
But me playing with against top 100 teams across the East Coast, it's a pretty big deal.
No. No, it's not.
You can say no.
Not really.
Because it's not the NHL level, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Because it's not your career.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So millions of dollars.
You'd rather have a team that just jokes around and has fun and goes 30-50 because they joke around. No, or you'd rather have a team like the Leafs, John, that can't do anything in the playoffs because they have no grit, no bite, and they fall asleep and they cry and they have no emotion. There's no toughness. I don't know how you can say it doesn't exist,
dude. This is your life.
Why do you think, John? Why do you think Josh Bailey is done as a player? Because he shows no fucking emotion. He doesn't go and hit. He doesn't throw the body. He doesn't do anything.
That's not why he's done.
It's 100% why he's done. There's no effort. No effort. That's why he's done. That's why he got benched 15 fucking times last year. It's more than they just sucks.
What the fuck you're talking about?
Okay, you want to go talk to other people about why Josh Bailey's not not playing the NHL?
Yes.
You think it's entirely based around talent and not the effort level?
Yes. He's not good. He's washed.
So you get benched 15 times just because you're not good, not because there's no effort. I think that's ridiculous.
Yes, bro.
They played Josh Bailey nonstop for the last 3 years, even though he sucked ass the whole fucking time because he showed emotion, because I saw him going for pucks. The guy was lazy. Was lazy.
He was better.
He was lazy this year.
It's not lazy. He's bad. Mike.
It's laziness, too.
To be fair, Mike, he was also lazy the year before, too.
Mike.
He was lazy his whole career, but, we'll not get into
Mike,
that.
you can't tell me that a player is supposed to have enough pride in their game that they try every shift, yet not have enough pride that they should retire because they're not good. It's one or the other.
Well, he's going to be sitting doing nothing anyway. I don't know.
That's why he wants to stay. If he didn't care, he would retire. He's trying. He's not good.
Play like you care.
He does care. He's just not good, guys.
He's not playing like he cares, though. That's the problem.
I'm just saying,
who are past their prime look slow.
It's not that he looks slow, though. It's that the dude doesn't back check. He doesn't do anything.
Because he's not good anymore.
I think it's deeper than that. But my thing was just that he wasn't showing any emotion, man. And I know that was kind of his thing for his whole career. But
we're just
trying. Because if you're trying to fight for a lineup spot, you got to show me more than a pass in the neutral zone. I need to see more than that.
So what you're saying is if he pretended to be angry to make you feel better, that would...
No, if there was effort and if he was hustling his ass back and up the ice, I would think a little bit differently of him.
He's not hustling because he's slow. Him hustling looks like he's not because he's slow. It's not good.
I think it's both. I think you can make arguments that it's both. You're going to tell me there's no situations where players don't try in the NHL? Did you miss the JT Miller saga? Did you miss the JT Miller saga?
I know there are situations where players don't try. I'm saying situations where players don't try are not when they're trying to stay in a lineup or stay in the league.
How many times do you have to get scratched to show that something's wrong, that the effort level's not there? How many times do you think
it's not the effort level, it's the talent level.
I don't know. I think it's both, but whatever. Obviously, you're not going to change on that. But I do think, yes.
He also probably doesn't like Lane Lambert either.
Probably not, because some coach finally held his ass accountable for a year. So,
oh, my God.
Which leads to the whole arrogance thing that I pointed out earlier.
It's weird that someone like Horvat will come in, has never played for this team before, and go, yo, I need to be better. And this guy who's been here for 15 years can't hold himself accountable. I think it goes with his legacy here, though.
All right, we need to get past this because I am going to argue this for the next hour and a half, and I don't need that.
I guess I think it's good content, to be honest.
Mike, this podcast means nothing. There is no content. Nobody watches us.
That's not true. I have a few people who reached out that do.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. We're doing this for fun anyway.
I know that, but this is not fun. We're just yelling at each other.
Well, okay, so I think this show has officially peaked, John. The show has officially peaked. We'll never top this.
I don't think so.
We'll never top this. Embarrassed. We just spent
negative.
We just spent 45 minutes screaming about John Bailey.
So thank you to the 20 people who are watching. You can now hit unsubscribe. Actually, I shouldn't encourage them to do that.
He didn't deserve this.
We'll never top this.
I don't know. He didn't deserve it.
John's face is like a cherry tomato right now.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know how you can. It bothers me that you think his effort level was 100% last year. It bothers me.
John might actually croak on camera.
Maybe
he might. He might actually croak on camera.
I think there are.
I'm not going to call out a player that is well past his prime. He doesn't belong there. His effort is indicative of his play. He's not good anymore. He's slow. He can't get to pucks. He makes mental errors. He's not good. Does it look the same? Like you expect him to be a better hockey player. That's why you're saying he doesn't have effort, because you're expecting more out of him. because he's a professional hockey player. He's not anymore. It's over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think players around his age that stick in the NHL, they adjust.
I know that.
But that's my point.
Players are better. He's not.
I don't understand how we argue for 30 minutes and then we're on the same page at the end. It doesn't.
Like, you're trying to make it out to be an effort thing. He's just not good. Other players his age are better. That's why they're here still. It's not an effort thing. He's bad. Bad players look like they're not showing effort because they're bad. You expect them to be good. You expect them to do things that they're supposed to do. Make this catch, reach this defender, back check, be in the right spot. They're not going to do that because they're not good anymore.
See, but here's what confuses me though is someone like Ross Johnson, who I think is horrible.
Ross Johnson is good at what he does.
But at least he gives an effort though.
That's what I'm saying. I still see him hustling his ass off, even though he's goddamn awful.
Because Ross Johnson's a good hockey player at what he does. What he does is just not very talented oriented. He's a brawler. He's meant to hit people and pass. He's good at it. That's why he's there. Bailey is good at nothing.
Well, that's not true. He was an elite playmaker for like a year or two.
I mean, now.
But I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's deeper than just he's fallen off. That is my opinion of it. I really do think that. I think
players fall off all the time.
I know, but to get benched as much as he did, I think it shows that it was potentially more than just his skill because they didn't remove
they gave him too many chances.
I'm just saying they didn't remove Clutterbuck or anyone from the lineup, even though I thought he was bad for months on end. But I thought the effort was there from him. That's the difference, I guess.
Because he was better.
I don't think Clutterbuck's much better than Bailey at this point in his career. I mean, he's barely held together.
Man, this woke you up.
What?
Clutterbuck is twice the player Bailey is, and that's where your effort argument comes in. He is still faster. He can still shoot. He can still pass. He can still make plays. He's not a great hockey player, but he is a serviceable fourth-line player. Bailey does not belong on the ice.
All right, Brandon, you look upset. What's wrong?
Why? No,
you were going to say something.
No, I'm fine.
You said something about Clutterbuck, though, Brandon.
Oh, I'm saying he's not good.
Yeah, I know.
He's better.
He's below average.
There are actually some numbers that Bailey has better in than like Clutterbuck, but I mean,
that's damning with fake praise. So
no, I understand, but my point is that they're probably around the same level at this point, especially as Clutterbuck is held together. I
really don't think so.
All right. I mean, Clutterbuck's goal probably helps your memory there. I mean, before that, I was really upset with
it's not even his goal. Clutterbuck leads the league in hits usually. That's what he's good at. It's not an effort thing. It's a skill thing. That's what he's good at.
But I'm not saying Josh Bailey running around and hitting would make me think there's effort there, even though it would at least show me that there's a pulse. I just think I didn't see the back check or anything.
Before.
Back check?
You specifically mentioned back check as an effort thing. It's not.
That's one of them, yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Is JT Miller not skilled? Is that why he didn't have to back check?
JT Miller, well, no, it's both.
Exactly.
Even you don't show effort. Look, if you're a good hockey player and you don't show effort, that's one thing. If you're a bad hockey player, you're just not going to get there because you're not fast enough. So it's going to look like you're not showing effort, but you're just not good.
See, but this is the funny part to me because Ross Johnston always looks bad, but I could see him hustling. That was, I don't know, it's a different.
Good at what he
was never good at anything he does.
Ross Johnston, if you were to say Ross Johnston's good at something, what is Ross Johnston good at?
Fighting, which is and even then, he's actually not that good. I mean,
other than fighting, what is he good at?
Nothing.
Effort?
Hitting.
I wouldn't even say that. He's too slow. How many hits does he have? He can't have that many. He throws the body well after the person's already left the boards.
That's it.
John, do you really think Ross is good at anything at the NHL level or even average? Because I don't think so. I think Trotz kept him around as an enforcer.
I think he's good at being a pest.
I wouldn't even say he mastered that. I would say he was there strictly an enforcer, someone to scare the other team.
Yes, but we're getting way off tangent here.
Okay, so to conclude, John thinks the reason Bailey is done is entirely based around the fact that he's no good anymore. And my argument is that I think it's a mix of he's not good anymore and that the effort wasn't there. It's funny because we're not that far off. For some reason, we can fight tooth and nail about it being one thing and not the other. But at the end of the day,
if he's not there, then why does he want to stay in the league?
Well, I mean, that too. But I think any hockey player doesn't want to accept that their career is over, like we discussed. I agree with you. He probably doesn't want to. But
if they don't want to accept their career is over, wouldn't you think they would try?
That's what I was hoping for last year. That's why I wanted to see him in the playoffs. But they gave him that last game, and he looked horrible.
You're so close to getting this.
It's so funny that the difference in me and your thoughts is such a small thing that at the end of the day is more irrelevant than anything you have said is irrelevant, including the podcast. It's like, let's just say Josh Bailey was giving 200%, like you're saying. I don't know how you get scratched 15 to 20 times. Like Ross Johnston didn't get scratched that many times.
Okay, but if I gave 1,000%, would it look like I was a good hockey player?
But I don't think that's fair. You weren't playing at that level.
But I'm saying he's not anymore.
If John, if I watched you playing hockey in the league you were playing hockey in, I would probably be able to tell that you were giving effort or not. Yeah, with NHLers, it would probably be tough because they'd be doing circles around you.
But that's what I'm saying.
But he's not so far off that he forgot how to move his feet. Like, that's ridiculous.
His talent level at this point in his career is several leagues below.
I would probably just say it's AHL level, to be fair to him.
I don't even think he's AHL level anymore.
I think that's harsh. So you said we were being harsh. That is really harsh, John. He still had like 25, 30 points last year. Most AHLers in his spot would probably not be able to do anything.
I know that, but when we were watching, most of those points were like secondary assists that he was kind of just there for.
The point still is that he's probably still good at an AHL level. He'll probably be a middle six forward on most AHL teams. I think that's ridiculous to think otherwise. But the point, I don't know how you can say he's fallen off that hard. He still had.
Really don't. Points.
John, if he went 82 games and had 3 points, I'd be like, John, you're right. He got every chance in the world. He had like 25 points last year. He's not that bad. You're saying now he's worse than an AHL player?
I'm saying that he's at a stage in his career where he's not going to be a regular NHL player anymore. And
that's fine, but you said he was worse than an AHL player. I don't agree with that.
I don't even know if he can keep up. Well, I'd have to see it.
The AHL is so much slower. He would definitely be able to keep up. He would probably look like he was trying. Had a trigger, John. Just say Josh Bailey doesn't try. That's not what I'm saying either. Like, once again, you kind of take this as a fact that I think Josh Bailey's going out there and going do. I don't think that's it either. I think he's just not giving 100%. That's my opinion. But I mean, it's from watching him and watching him previously.
I think he's just not good. Yeah. All right. So what else did you guys want to talk about?
Just the prospects, since we've already over an hour in. This is going to be the Josh Bailey episode. You can label it where we fought.
Great.
It was going to happen at some point. You're ready to hold up the banner, and I'm not.
It's not even holding up the banner. It's like defending the guy from, I don't know. All right, let's move on.
I think I'm giving him more credit than you are. I'm willing to say he's better than you think he is. But
just like a quick update. The speculation I just received was that Edmonton's most likely going to buy out Yamamoto.
Oh, I would like him.
Oh, sure. I already heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's that good.
I think he could be a good reclamation project.
We already have Engvall. I don't know how we're going to afford another player like that. They would have to do a trade.
If they keep Engvall.
Yeah.
If they're not keeping Engvall, Yamamoto is not like the worst.
He's small.
Yeah, he's small.
Small is fine.
He's not as good.
It depends how good you are at small. He's not an exceptional skater at his size. It's kind of a problem. That's probably why Edmonton's not keeping him.
You get bought out of Edmonton, you have problems.
Every player that's like, oh, they don't fit well and they're put next to McDavid or Draisaitl, I get nervous about. One of them was Puljujarvi, who was like, maybe we'll take a swing on him. And then I watched him in Carolina and I went, never mind. He's not that good. He's actually fucking terrible.
That's fair.
He can't skate. He reminds me a lot of Lee without all the good things.
So what are we going to talk about regarding the draft? Any prospects that we're interested in?
So I was going to go over the top 10 if you guys want. This list was put together. Do you guys want me to do that or no?
Go ahead. Sure.
Just the top 10 quick. It was put together by Russ Cohen, Brock Otten, Cam Robinson, Mason Black, Sebastian High, basically a bunch of different people from Dauber Prospects, Elite Prospects, like all of the different sites came together and put together a ranking. So we'll go through 1 to 10 and we'll see if there's any names that you guys think stand out. I already have mine, but I'll want to be surprised. Who do you, and please don't say Bedard. Do something interesting. So Connor Bedard obviously is the unanimous first overall.
Well, is this like which prospect excites you the most?
Yeah, sure. If you heard of one that you're interested in, and especially one I don't mention. So yeah, great. Yeah, that's the one I am too. But
yeah.
So generational prospect is him. Then Adam Fantilli comes in second, who's obviously projected very high. He's known as a consolation prize comparable to like a Jack Eichel right now, which is they're very high on him, higher than I am. And then you have Michkov at 3, who actually has the second highest PNHLE in the entire draft. Obviously, the problems with him, as you guys know, come in the fact that the geopolitical issues, at least with Russia, combined with the fact that while he's not necessarily like super elite at like skating, he's well above average or fantastic at everything else. So he's one of the highest sought after picks in recent years. Then you have Leo Carlson, 6'3" forward.
No.
Wait, say it again.
So Dow called 2.0 basically.
Yeah, very funny. No. He has the offensive upside. People are saying that he's going to be the second highest talent in this draft behind Bedard. So Leo Carlson, 6'3" forward, well-rounded with elite hockey sense. Zach Benson at 5th, center winger. He's a little bit smaller, dynamic on offense. You have Will Smith, another center from the U.S. Looks exciting. High-end second-line center, so that's where it dips a little bit. Andrew Cristal, left winger. Oliver Moore, center. Ryan Leonard, another center. And Edward Sale, a right winger. What did you guys notice with that list? Anything missing from that top 10? A certain position, perhaps?
Defenseman?
Yeah. And well, goalies don't go in the top 10 usually. It's really rare when they do. They're usually exceptional to be there. But yeah, there's no defenseman in their top 10, which makes the first 2 that get picked, which is Axel Sandin Pellikka, and I believe the other one's Radin something. Can't find him. Jeez, Reinbacher is 21st for them, very low.
Oh wow, the second defenseman's at 21st. Jesus.
Yeah, and the first one's at 11. So those guys. Now, both of those guys I'm willing to gamble are going to go in the top 10 because when those are the top 2, someone's going to take a jump on the 2 highest talented defensemen in this draft. So any names, Brandon?
Yeah, so my hot take. So first off, I'm going to give my hot take on what I think is going to happen with Michkov. I think he's going to fall out of the top 20.
Oh,
I'm saying that it has nothing to do with his talent.
It's a thing.
He's more of an average, above average, projected NHL skater, and he does have some underlying attributes that are very useful. But geopolitical issues that you just pointed out, Mike, That's exactly why teams are going to be very weary to pick him under advisement from ownership.
I think the concern about Kaprizov not being able to come back to America might scare some teams away.
No, he came back to America.
No, but I'm saying there was a big hassle, and we weren't sure what would happen for a long time.
And considering that,
I think it's going to be like the Russian players are going to have a very hard time convincing people they'll be able to get out of the country without any issue.
So here's my thing. I think Philly's picking third. Where is Philly picking? Do you know, Brandon, offhand, third or fourth?
Well, they're not picking third because Columbus is picking third.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it's fourth or fifth. Do I have that right? Fifth? Okay. Well, I can't find it right now, but let's just say they're picking fifth. I don't think Michkov falls farther than that, just because Philly has been known to kind of sign a bunch of toxic assets. I'm not saying Michkov is. Let's be clear here. Like, I don't want to.
I would not think that Michkov is toxic, so I wouldn't really use that analogy.
No, but my point is that Philly takes these gambles on guys that other teams wouldn't. Is my point. And I think the position they're in, I don't see them being a competitive team for the next 3 years. So it makes sense to me to kind of have that timeline where Michkov comes in, they have all this cap space, and they basically turn into the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, it would be very interesting, not exciting as an Islanders fan, but I don't think he falls farther than fifth or sixth. I think I think that is an excuse, Brandon, they're using to scare teams off 100%.
I just think it's going to be very tough to get him to America per se.
But I agree with you that a team like Columbus, who's looking to compete now, is not going to go for a player like that. They're going to look for someone like a Leo Carlsson, like a Fantilli, if he's there, which I don't think he'll be, to jump in right away.
Well, no, if you're looking to compete right now, if you're Columbus, considering you have Babcock and Provorov and Severson in your fold now, you're probably going to trade away that pick, if anything.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Yeah. So I guess that's a reason for us to watch.
I mean, look at their logic, though. Their logic. You hire Mike Babcock. He's a win-now coach. You already have Gaudreau. You already have Line for 3 more years. Those are win-now signings, per se. You traded for Provorov. You traded for Severson's rights and signed him. Those are win-now trades. So knowing that, it would make sense for the Blue Jackets to trade away that pick.
Yes.
It would make a lot of sense for them to do that. And who knows who will pounce on that. But they're in a tough situation because they got to maximize that Johnny Gaudreau window. So if you don't get a player that you want, like who you think is going to be ready in the NHL right away, because I don't even think there's a guarantee Leo Carlson's going to be NHL ready right away. I'll give you Fantilli, I'll give you Connor Bedard, but every other prospect, as far as what I'm seeing, probably a year or two before they're really NHL ready. And Babcock's not going to want to wait for that. He's going to want somebody right now.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think, John? What do you think is going to happen in this draft? What do you think is going to happen that's unusual?
Unusual. Okay. I think that the Chicago Blackhawks have a ton of draft picks, and they're going to use their draft picks to try to swing a big trade.
Give me an example.
Okay.
You're going for it if you're Chicago. You got Taylor Hall, you got Connor Bedard. The speculation is maybe Kane returns there following hip surgery.
I would, if I'm Chicago, I might use my trade,
because they could fit Scheifele on their team right now.
They could fit Scheifele on the team right now, and
there's $7 million.
Get someone from the core 4 of the Leafs if they give them enough picks.
Ooh.
Maybe a William Nylander.
See, my speculation is I think if William Nylander's not given an extension, I think he's going to get traded to Calgary.
I think if
Toronto
they can't get an extension with him, they might trade him at the draft.
Well, they can't negotiate with Willie yet. They have to wait till free agency. Legally,
everybody does their own negotiations beforehand.
But specifically with the age and whatnot, like you can get in serious trouble for tampering.
Yeah.
But that'd be smart. Chicago maybe gets someone like a Mark Scheifele or one of the core forward elites. Well, it's not going to be Matthews. It's not going to happen.
No,
they're not going to. Tavares ain't waving to go there.
I don't know who it's going to be, but I think that they have a lot of picks and they could do something very strange with them.
I think somehow, some way, also my second hot take. I think the Islanders will find a way to trade into the first round.
Who are they going to give up?
I don't think it'll be Dobson, but it's going to be. It could be somebody like
Why would they trade into the first round? It
like
make any sense.
Isaiah George. It could be someone like a William Dufour. Teams who feel like they can have that young scoring potential. Feels okay. That person can maybe make a leap into my NHL team right now.
Do you think it would be misguided to trade William Dufour to get back into the lineup when you're basically trading a prospect that you think has potential for a possible another prospect that has potential?
Problem.
What was that?
I don't think the Islanders have room for him.
And you think they're going to have room for whoever they pick now?
No, but the point is though, you have to recoup what you can't use, really. That's the mentality. It was the same thing when the Islanders moved Griffin Reinhart.
I have to look at the Islanders.
They literally had no room on their decor for Reinhart. So they salvaged that issue.
But Griffin Reinhart was going to play this season. I don't expect Dufour to play for another 2 years at least.
No, he don't. On a team who is deficient of current ready NHLers, Dufour can make that team.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, 100%. He wasn't bad in Bridgeport either.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's ready yet. There's a pipeline.
I think there's a team who will try to gamble on that, though.
Okay.
I think there's a team who could gamble on that. I don't know, Mike. What's your hot take for the draft?
I got 2 parts. The first thing I want to quickly say, though, is I just saw a tweet that I didn't see before where they're not qualifying a couple of RFAs. My guess on the couple is Bodie Wild, Blade Jenkins, and Colin Adams. But I kind of hope they keep Colin Adams. I thought he was decent from what I had seen last year, but those are the 3 I think they're not qualifying.
Yeah, Wild won't be qualified. I don't think so.
Lou said there are a couple, though, not just one. So
waste of a second-round pick again.
Yeah. So
I think Jacob Skarek won't be qualified either. He's been very disappointing.
No, Corey Schneider is actually going overseas, so I would be doubtful that they don't keep Skarek after that.
Unless they bring along Tristan Lennox.
Well, I think it's going to be Skarek and Lennox.
Yeah.
So that's going to be ugly.
It might not be. We'll see. Goaltending is fickle, like you said, so we don't know.
He's got to get an opportunity eventually.
I guess my hot take, which is probably maybe it's not hot to you guys, but would be hot to these scouts. I don't think Leo Carlsson goes in the top 5. I think a defenseman's going to be drafted in the top 5.
Ooh.
I think he's 4th or 3rd on a lot of people's list, but I don't see him going in the top 5. I think in my opinion, he's a center that's big for his age. And I mean, I look at the guy, look at someone like Byfield that the Kings drafted, and sure, he's in the NHL, but same type of thing. I think the size helps them at this age. And I don't know if they have the type of skills that some of the other guys do around them, including guys like Zach Benson and Will Smith, who are behind them. I think those players are more enticing to take.
So you think Leo's going to fall out of the top 5?
Yeah, but he'll probably go like 6th. I don't see him going lower than that.
Okay.
6th or 7th.
I just feel like center depth is more valued than defenseman.
Well, a lot of these guys are, right? Benson and Will Smith after him. Apparently are going to go after him are both centers. Or they can play. I think It says here Benson plays wing as well. It also says Carlson plays wing as well in this draft report. So maybe he played both. The only highlights I have of him are him being really large and scoring really large kind of goals. So from what I watched. Obviously, I didn't really follow him this year. I didn't even know who he was until a few months ago. But I knew some of these other guys. I had heard of them from the past year or so. Might just be the league he was in.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps up our feelings on the draft. We don't have a pick, so there's not much you can talk about.
Not in the first round, at least.
If the Islanders were to fall in the first round, I personally like Otto Stenberg from Sweden. I know Lou loves his Europeans, as does Dale Mountain. It would be such a Lou thing to do. I thought he played. I've seen quite a bit of highlights from him, actually. Very, very, very respectable play for him in the under-20 league for Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very respectable. He's a center as well. You never have enough centers. So I like that thought process that they were able to move back into the first round and pick somebody like him. There's a chance that he may fall probably to the 20s. I don't think he'll fall out of the first round. I do think he'll probably be in the 20s. That's what I'm saying. If the Islanders do move to the first round, I don't think it's going to be like in the mid-teens. I think it'll be like a later first-round pick. And if they do, Otto would be a very good guy.
Lou has already said that's not what he's trying to do, though. I could see.
Okay, but Lou says many, many things, and he does the freaking opposite moments later.
I get that, but I don't see a reason the Islanders would trade into the first round this year. It just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. You're saying that Dufour has no chance, but I feel the opposite. I think this is the end of Clutterbuck and Martin being full-time everyday players. I really do. Does that mean I think they're not going to play? No, of course not. But I don't think they're going to be in the lineup every night.
So you're going to put.
I think that this is probably the last season that they're going to be in the lineup every night, or
on the team. I mean, they might retire, right? Clutterbuck's what, 36?
You're going to put Dufour on the fourth line.
A lot. I don't know, Brandon. A lot of teams are adapting this different.
You could.
A lot of teams are adapting new philosophies where their fourth line is a scoring line as well. So, I mean, I'm not saying these guys can jump in and have no other skill besides go score a goal. But I mean, to be given a shot, absolutely. Durando has already shown me he is a fourth liner. He is a good hard-nosed fourth liner at worst. That's going to give you some sort of at least skill from I've seen. I mean, he's a good skater, has some good skill.
He skates better than Dufour, though.
Sure. I'm just saying they have to at least give Dufour a shot somewhere. If you think that's in the top 6, fine. I just don't see a spot for him necessarily, or I don't really think he'd deserve it right away either. And I think the fourth line is what teams should use for testing grounds. That's what you use to see if a player can make it or not in the NHL. Because you can limit their minutes. The Islanders don't do that. I don't know why. I'd rather see 20 minutes of Horvat and Barzal over 15 minutes of Martin and Clutterbuck. Like, I don't need to see that.
I mean, they put Nino in the fourth line. How'd that turn out?
It was a different time. That's what bothers me when people always bring that back, is that was a time when we were still talking about line 3 as the checking line, and line 4 was your grinder enforcer line. It's just not the way of the NHL anymore. There are no enforcers anymore. I mean, he was playing with
Marty Reisner and Jake Pandolfo.
Steve, I thought it was Steve Bernier, but God, it might as well have been. He was surrounded by guys who all they did was grind. They had literally no skill at that point in their career. They were horrible. I think it was Bernier. It wasn't Bernier and Pandolfo. That sounds
no. It was Marty Reisner and Jake Pandolfo.
God bless him. I mean, I would quit too. Those guys were at the very tail end of their careers, and they were horrific.
Bernier actually played an actual playoff game for the Islanders in 2016 against Florida, and he was playing over Ryan Strome.
That's an interesting fact that you could bring up. John,
it's insane.
Before we finish this, if there's any trivia, by the way, I think we should come up with a poll, John, since we had that nice debate. I think we should put a poll up of what we said. And no, listen, John. I can already tell you this. You might be 100% right. I'm willing to admit that as man to man, you might be right. You might be right. I want to see what other people think, if that's okay.
Giving clarity, because I've had a little bit of time to think about it. I just have one closing thought that might bring some perspective for you.
Okay.
Stamina is a skill. As an athlete, the ability to give 100% of yourself for the entire game is a skill. If you do not have stamina, obviously, you're not going to be able to keep up. It's going to look like you are not giving effort at all, when in reality, you're gassed. I think that's what's going on.
Did we get any questions, by the way, for this show?
Yeah, oh, I forgot. Do you want me to quickly run through the one that was interesting? Because John, there was one question that someone sent us that was not a joke. Matt sent you, how does it feel knowing Barzell will be a Kraken in your lifetime? So we don't have to answer that because I don't think that's going to happen.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Someone sent us basically, who do you think, who would you guys want the Islanders to pick up as a defenseman through trade? I mean, or UFA, but obviously Orlov doesn't look like it's a reality. For me, I think right off the bat, I know what Brandon's going to say, but for me, I'm thinking Brett Pesce. I'd be interested to see what we'd have to do from Carolina to grab him. If you can't beat them, join them, right?
My thing is, why would Carolina trade into a divisional rival?
Well, I mean, it's a once again different day and age. I just saw that happen with the other trade, right? Wasn't that a divisional rival trade? Which one? Did I forget already? There was one trade that just happened in the last week where it was divisional rivals. I think it's less frequent. I'll give you that. I would say it's rare. But if the Islanders have some sort of deal they can make with Carolina, I think it would be a good ad.
So, what defenseman do I think has the best chance of coming to the Island? All right, so I don't think it'll be Hannafin because I want Hannafin on the team.
Okay. Different perspective.
I'm going to give a big chance for the Islanders to get Matt Dumba because Minnesota is severely cap-strapped. Like, severely. They have only $8 million in actual cap space. They're screwed still. They have 2 more years of the Parise and Suter's buyout hits.
Interesting.
So knowing that, they probably can't afford him. They already put Brock Faber in the top 4 already. There's no real room on their team for Matt Dumba. I think he'd be a huge mentor to Romanov.
How much does he cost?
He was $6 million against the cap from his RFA deal. He's not going to cost that much.
Okay.
I think he'll probably get between 3 to 4.
Well, that would be a lot more reasonable.
He'll be 29, I believe, in August, if I'm not mistaken. Ready defenseman. I know fans have their concerns about his injuries. Good skating defenseman.
That's what we need over Mayfield.
Top 4 defenseman. Could play top pair in a pinch.
Does that push out Dobson?
I mean, Dobson hasn't graduated from the bottom pair for anyways. So
I know, but I think the Island. No, you're right though. I do think. Listen, no matter what happens we hope Dobson graduates, right? We hope he becomes that top 4 D-man because then that gives the Islanders flexibility. You can roll Mayfield and Dobson playing the same amount of time. Well, it would be Dobson, Dumba. It'd be easier to say too.
To me, Dobson, the way Dobson's skill translates, he comes across as like a Shattenkirk Gostisbehere defenseman, which isn't bad, but it's not like they're not defensive. They don't play any defense really.
Dumba's a right D, right? So I'm saying it wouldn't help Dobson. Yeah.
No, but it would help. But it would help Romanov a lot. It would
give
him stability in the second pair.
I just don't know if Aho is the defenseman for Dobson. I'm not saying Aho's bad either. I feel like it's just redundant.
Weirdly, that pairing actually played well.
No, I know. I don't know long term. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and there's be a chance that Aho gets moved to make room for if they don't move him. But Dumba would be a good addition, in my opinion. Great addition.
John, is there a name that we haven't said that we have not mentioned that you want? We mentioned Hannafin, Dumba, and Brett Pesce. Those are, I think, the most realistic scenarios.
I was gonna say, if we're just making like a swing here, I would say TJ Brody.
Yeah, he had elite numbers last year in Toronto, but
Well,
he was injured, right? Again,
severely undervalued in Toronto. I think I don't think they see him as good as he is.
Wasn't he injured again last year?
Devontae's.
What was that?
I thought you were going to say Devontae's because he has one
That's
less.
not realistic, but yes, obviously Devontae's.
Is TJ Brody does he have injury issues though? I thought he was injured last year.
He does, which to me would lower the price, but I think I would deal with that.
Who would we be giving up for him though? Dobson? Well, Brody's a lefty, isn't he?
He's a lefty, but he plays on the right side most of the time.
Oh, jeez.
I think Dobson is a fair trade. I feel like the Leafs would like his offensive upside.
Yeah, but Brody's a guaranteed top 4 defenseman right now. Dobson is. So Toronto,
I think Dobson has a higher upside.
You'd be buying on potential.
Sure. Offensively.
Well, Brody's also what, 28, 29?
He's 30.
Okay, so he's a lot older. See, that would be a big risk of a trade. I would expect the Leafs to actually give us more than Brody in that trade. Probably draft capital. Not talking about it first.
I think it would probably be a fair 1-for-1 trade.
Ooh, I don't know if I do that then. I'd rather have Dobson at 23 or 24. Well, he's 22, right? He'll be 23 this year. I'd rather keep Dobson then. You're risking it there. Brody could fall off a cliff in the next year, and then we're fucked. I'd rather have the risk and go with Dobson.
If I'm the GM, I'm saying that if we're signing Sorokin, the window is right now, and trying in the next few years.
He's 33.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would not 1-for-1 that, John. He's at the end of his career then.
If you want to win a cup in the next year or two, sometimes you got to make those.
If you're trading a 23-year-old 50-point defenseman for a 33-year-old, you got to get some capital back. There's no way the Leafs would get away with that.
On that, they should target Timothy Liljegren and get some assets with him. Then yes,
that's interesting. Yeah,
because
I like Liljegren. I just don't think he's as good defensively.
What are you talking about? Liljegren's solid.
They had a good year last year. The Leafs actually have a really good decor, which is kind of funny because they always fall, but it always falls apart. They don't?
The Leafs do not have that top pair armor. No
well, I agree with you. I'm saying they're well-rounded, though. They have, in my opinion, they have 6 guys who can play, except for Hull. But
the Leafs have a lot of depth.
Yeah,
but it's not sufficient top pair defensive depth.
Well, because Morgan Riley's their guy, right? And that wouldn't be a top pair guy on any team, or not the guy, I should say.
It's Riley and Brody, Hull, who played on their second pair, and then got bent for Brody, and ironically helped the team beat Tampa.
When you list out the names, Brandon, it's impressive though. Like Giordano, Muzzin, Liljegren.
Jake McCabe
has not been healthy, and God knows.
But that's what I'm saying. If you ignore the health problems and the age of Giordano, you look at that decor and you go, "That's not bad. That's actually one of the better decors."
It's a good decor, yeah.
It is, but just they don't have the top pair armor, like Brandon said. I do agree with you there.
They don't have the Taze McCarr. They don't have the Slave and Burns. They don't have the
Milton
version.
Yeah.
They don't have Alec and Pollock. They don't have any of that. Oh no.
No, I just read what Eric said. As I told him, but he would have not been. He would have hated this podcast.
Eric? Oh, I'm sure.
He would have told us to shut up 5 minutes in, but I'm glad we didn't.
Agree. He's gonna watch this and be embarrassed.
No, I don't think so. I think this was the best of the best, to be honest. That's my opinion. What's up, Brandon? I think that's the best one. I don't want to go through the other ones. Ask us better questions because the other ones looked me. Someone called you out on saying we shouldn't re-sign our best players or whatever.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, the Sorokin thing or whatever. But we don't need to go over that now. We'll talk about that later. Is any trivia or should we wrap it up?
Let's do. I got a trivia question.
Okay, of course you do, Brandon.
Sure, buddy.
And we'll wrap it up. You're around my age, so you could probably get this. And I'll give you one easy hint in case you two get stumped.
Okay.
So, surprisingly, Eric Lindros did not win the Calder Trophy in his rookie season because guys like Teemu Selanne scored 76 goals. Who else scored 76 goals that year?
Read the question
The
again.
year Eric Lindros was a rookie?
When Eric Lindros was playing his rookie season, he did not win the Calder Trophy because guys like Teemu Selanne scored 76 goals that year. Who else scored 76 goals that exact same year?
Is this an Islander question? Oh, that's a hint, isn't it? If it would be.
It's an Islander, but come on, he's completely famous.
Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr?
Okay, John is incorrect. Mike, you're next.
He said 2. I get two answers.
You get 2 questions because of John's.
Oh goodness, this is tough because it's not when I was really alive for too long, right? What year was this? 90.
In the mid-90s, yes.
Yeah, I was barely alive.
But come on, he's a very.
I wanted to say Turgeon, but no, I don't think he ever scored that many goals.
You'll get another guess.
Yeah, I get one more. That many goals, Jesus.
Aren't I only like 3 years older than you?
Yeah, but I don't remember that. Neither do you, probably.
I do.
Is it LaFontaine? I think
All right.
LaFontaine did score near that many, though.
I'll give you, first hint. One of the teams that he played for were the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2000s.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't say what I was going to say then.
John, you first.
I have one Leaf
Matt
that comes to
Sundin?
my head. Yeah.
What's up?
Mats Sundin?
Mike, what's your guess?
I was going to say the same thing, but I'll say something else, I guess, since that's not right.
I didn't say it was right or wrong.
Is it right so I don't have to look stupid?
Just make your guess.
Matt Sundin? Because that's what I was going to say.
All right, you're both wrong.
Oh, then why did you tell me that so I can give a different guess? You made me waste my guess, Brandon.
Second hint. He also played for the St. Louis Blues.
Of course he did. God.
Hmm.
Oh, is it
Don't say it, Mike. John's turn to guess.
Oh.
Brett Hull?
No, Mike, your turn.
Is it Keith?
Keith Kachuk?
All right, I'll just
He played for the Blues, I think, though. I don't think he played for Toronto, though.
All right.
I don't think Brett Hull played for Toronto either. But I don't. When he said Blues, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Number 3, he's from Russia. John, you.
Hint.
It
doesn't help me.
Really?
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Bulls. Played for Toronto and St. Louis, and is from
Alexander McGillney?
Mike, your turn.
He keeps doing this to me instead of telling you whether you were right or wrong, so I can just look stupid if it's right. McGillney wasn't really that big of a goal scorer, though. I don't think, at least. It's got to be someone played for the Blues and the Leafs and Russian. Oh, jeez. Played for the Blues and the Leafs and was Russian. I wish I knew hockey like this, but this is a little too much for me. And I thought it was Islander related, but clearly it's not. Blues and the Leafs.
Yes.
That's
From
a lot of goals, too. Whoa.
76 goals.
I have no guess, honestly. I don't know. Sorry, Brandon.
Pick somebody.
But everyone that comes to my head didn't play for the Blues and the Leafs. Can we get another hint?
Well, I gotta wait. I gotta get both of your guesses first.
Oh, he's so bad. This is like how you extend it to a 3-hour podcast.
It is. It really
Brandon and his
is.
trivia. I was gonna say Bure, but it's not, so I don't know.
John is correct.
Thank you.
Why didn't you just tell me? Why'd you make me waste 2 minutes?
See if you both got it right.
It was McGillney? I never thought he scored that many goals. I would have never gotten that.
I can finally say that I got a Brandon trivia question correct eventually.
And he made me sit through your answers instead of telling me whether they were wrong or not.
McGillney had 76 goals the same year Salami did.
All right, I got a fun one.
Okay.
Ready? What team in 1993 drafted Sean Bates? You can go first, John. John goes first because Brandon. And I'm not going to tell you, Brandon, if he's wrong or not. I'm going to make you squirm.
Sure.
I'm going to say Philly.
No. Oh, damn, I told Brandon. All right, Brandon, you guess.
The Buffalo Sabres.
Nope, wrong. All right, John. Wait, I got to give a hint, right?
Yeah.
Eastern Conference. So you guys were close, right?
Just throwing darts here.
Back then. No, I was going to say back then it was still an Eastern Conference team. I know a few teams changed, but no, it wasn't Ottawa.
I thought you were supposed to wait for me to guess before saying we were.
I know. I keep ruining it because I do things the right way instead of you making me squirm. That was embarrassing.
The Hartford Whalers?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Is it a team that's still in the league?
It is a team that is still in the league. That is your second hint. Guess again.
That's a horrible hint for you to get from it, John.
That wasn't a question.
It is a team that's still in the league.
John, you're first.
Toronto.
Nope. Brandon, and then I'll give my last hint.
Again, you did it again, Mike. Again. The Bruins?
Okay. Yes. All right, I have to give
Wow.
my last hint.
There you go.
Yeah,
Nice.
he only played for 2 NHL teams, so I thought it would have been a reasonable question, but I guess it was actually harder than I thought.
Yeah, I did not know he played for the Bruins.
I don't know how long he did. It probably wasn't very long.
Yeah.
3 or 4 seasons, probably.
Well, I didn't specifically look one up, but I know one, so I can ask it. This might be easy, might not be. We'll see.
On a 1 to 10 in the branded scale, where are we at?
In all seriousness, McGinley's still not in the Hall of Fame.
I can't believe he scored that many goals. I never thought he did. It must have been a rare year, though. He didn't do that often.
He was one of the best players during that. He doesn't get spoken about because of Mario and Jaromir. One of the best players in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Overrated. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't really grow up with him. It's okay.
And he got snubbed for the Hall of Fame again. Poor guy.
Maybe if he wasn't Russian.
That's probably the exact reason.
I know. I'm just busting everyone's balls. I don't care.
All right. So here's mine. Which player has his name on the Stanley Cup more than anyone else?
Oof. Are we dating back to like where they ripped the players' names off? Like before that? Are we talking about now? Like I know every so often they actually remove a team, right?
No, like all time. Who has?
Oh, okay. So you didn't specify because I know that's a thing. Like they do move on.
They take them up, but they still count.
No, I'm just saying. I thought you meant like current day. Who has their name posted on the cup? That's an interesting question. I don't know if I'd know that one either. Or Brandon, you want to go first?
What?
Mark Messier?
No.
Is it Mr. Hockey?
No.
It was a good guess, right?
Yeah, not a bad guess. No.
And
I'm not looking, I promise.
Older than
Gordie Howe?
Yeah.
Really? That's gonna be pretty hard.
Paul Coffey?
Who?
Paul Coffey?
That is not
older than Gordie Howe.
But no.
Gordie Howe was the 60s, right?
Yes.
Oh, geez,
60s, 70s.
You want me to tell you what was going on in the 50s, John? I have no.
It's a trivia question.
Well, it's someone who's a Canadian. We can already get that hint out of the way because they won like 15 years in a row when no one was in the league. So,
that would have been my second hint. Yes.
Yeah.
It is a Montreal Canadian.
Is it Jean Beliveau?
Yes, that's who it is.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. I'm the best. Woohoo! I don't even know him.
He has his name inscribed on the cup, I think, like 11 times as a player and like another 7 as coach GM.
Oh, I was going to say, because there's also Maurice Richard and Guy Lafleur, and I'm like, it could be one of those as well. Guy
Lafleur is a different time frame. Guy Lafleur was the 70s. Maurice Richard was the same time.
Okay. Well, I mean, one of them's in color and one of them's not, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Rangers Cups. 3 of them are not in color.
Yeah.
John, you excited about that trivia question or that poll I'm going to make on Twitter or no?
I am very excited. How are you going to word this?
I have to be careful, don't I?
Yes. Is it going to be like, did Josh Bailey show effort last season?
Yeah. Do you think that do you think effort was part of the problem, or do you think it was entirely talent that sunk Josh Bailey in this last year? That's what we argued about. We have to be careful here, John, because I made a poll of Islanders fans, granted this was on Facebook, of if you'd rather have Josh Bailey or Alex Ovechkin, and it was 50-50 for like a long time. Yes, and it was so bad. I sent it to TJ and Grumpy almost had a heart attack on live air. He's like, you can't be serious. This is ridiculous. I can't believe how many people were saying Josh Bailey and like Ovi was like a problem or something, and I'm like,
when was this poll done?
Like 2 or 3 years ago when Josh was still
people
good.
Had to have been trolling.
I don't think so. I mean, there were some comments like Ovechkin's not a team player or something.
I can't deal with those kinds of people in my mentions.
But that's why I get worried about Twitter polls, because I don't know if something like that's you're gonna win like 90-1, and like the other one person's gonna be like Lou Lamoriello from his burner.
That is totally fine. I will accept whatever happens.
Lou's gonna walk up to you in real life and be like, you were wrong about that, John. I watched your podcast.
He's just gonna come up to me at like a team dinner or something, and I'm like with my family on the side, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, I watched him every game. He told me he wasn't trying.
I watched your stupid little podcast, John.
Yeah, right.
You were wrong. You were wrong." He slaps the plate out of your hands for dinner. It's all on the floor. Pick it up. Well, I can't wait to do that poll, John. And if I'm wrong, I will sport that Josh Bailey jersey too many times. I'll probably wear I'll wear it to every single Islander thing I go to next year. How about that?
I was gonna say I actually have a Josh Bailey jersey too, because my friends got it for me as a gag gift. And
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And
I lost a bet.
If I'm wrong, I'll wear it.
If he retires, I will only talk good things about him. I'll put it to you that way.
I'm still going to talk good things about him because he was a loyal Islander. He's like the Simpsons, though. I just want him to go away so we can love him.
But that's my point.
Stop. He's already dead, Doc. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. But
actually, I want him to come back and play full 20 minutes a night.
Oh, God. Yeah, right.
But they can't bench him anymore. He has to play all 82.
Yeah. We never got to we never got to Brandon's Nashville thing. Brandon, who do you think that
quick, yeah.
I think the Predators are going to sign Scott Mayfield.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I could see that. Seems likely. Okay.
Who loves
Does anybody have anything else before we head off?
That Twitter poll is going to be so exciting. I hope I lose. I hope more people think your way so I can be put in my place. I want to be put in my place. Tell me I'm wrong. But also, we're not in the room. So even though there's going to be all these votes, the only person that really knows if they're giving 100% or not is Josh Bailey.
Yeah, of course.
And maybe Lou. Maybe they've had this discussion. Or Lane.
Yeah.
But maybe Lane doesn't know either. Maybe Lane is mistaking it for something else, like you said. So
who knows?
All right, we're ready for this poll. See you guys later. Well, see you tomorrow, John. Please let me know. All right, I'll text you. All right, I'll text you.
Sounds good. All right. Take care, guys. Until next time.